Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Hello, my name is Monty Waldin. This is the Italian Wine Podcast. I'm with Enrico Rivetto. Enrico, tell me a little bit about your winery. Where are you?
I'm located between Serralunga and Signo, in one hill called Lirano.
In which Italian region?
Piemonte.
Okay. Now, we had a little walk around the vineyards earlier on, and you struck me as being completely and utterly crazy. Why?
It's not crazy. It's quite logic if we think about ecosystem. If you think that we are a farmer and not just a wine producer.
So what are you trying to create here? You don't talk of a vineyard. You talk of an ecosystem, right?
Yeah, I try to have more experience with other things which are not vineyards. Consider that here today 1 hectare of Barolo it costs 1.7 million euro. So
yeah, what have you done with that? You've ripped up a hectare of Barolo. You planted vegetables.
No, because when it's too monoculture is always bad. When you have intensive culture is always bad for the nature. Maybe today it seems that we are rich, but in 10-20 years we would become very poor because the nature doesn't think like we think. So it takes time.
You think biodiversity is the way forward?
Yeah, also if the word biodiversity is quite, everybody say the word biodiversity also in the wrong way. Yes, but biodiversity is the normality. We try to find a way that vineyards are in balance with the nature, which is not easy, but it takes time.
So just tell us some of the things that you've done to create the biodiversity that you have.
We were planting wheat, we were planting 114 fruit trees, we were starting to have a green garden, canopy, 800 meters of aromatic herbs, birds, so we have a small house for birds on the trees. We were planting trees also for the birds to encourage them to cross our winery.
Most people would say you're completely mad. Birds eat wine grapes. What are you doing? Why are you doing it?
Because you feel also. I was studying winemaker school. I was studying, how to make wine. But at the end of the story, we are farmers. And when you realize that you don't know how to grow a carrot, how to grow a potato, you feel a little bit ignorant in what you do. So I started at 30, 36, 37 years old to experiment something else. To experiment the biodynamic up first on the garden and after on the vineyards. And I get confidence and I feel that's the way that I would like to persuade and go.
So you've planted all these, you said aromatic herbs, fruit trees. You even put fruit trees in the vineyards, which was the tradition. But some of your neighbours thought that was really crazy, right?
Yes, but it was the tradition. Our tradition was this one: plums and peaches in the middle of the vineyard was normal. Also, the people when they were tired of working in the vineyard, they can just catch one peach and eat it. It was also nice and pleasant.
So you haven't just been a sort of pioneer in terms of biodiversity. Tell me about the Nascetta grape, which you work with. What is that?
Nascetta is an indigenous white grape variety from Langhe hills. After the World War II completely disappeared, and since 2008 we started to plant and vinify, and since 2013 I think we found the real natural, real way of interpretation of the Nascetta. So we aged for 2 years in concrete tanks. We planted the north slope. That's very important.
So why did you plant your Nascetta vines on the north facing side, the cooler side?
Because if you read the old books of the 18th century, the Nascetta was considered closer of some Riesling. So the first thing that came in my mind was north. So put a north slope. Preserve the city, preserve the minerality. So that's how I started.
And what are the typical flavours of the white wine Nascetta? A couple of flavours?
A couple of flavours. It's quite tricky because if you taste the Nascetta after 1 year or 6 months, it's very aromatic. It reminds like a Moscato, very aromatic. But after 2 years and going further in the aging, change completely and going more in vegetal, more really Riesling oriented. That takes time. So I'm more interested in the second part of the flavors.
So you also make a sparkling wine from Nebbiolo made as a white wine. Tell me about that one.
That's a Nebbiolo Sparkly, which is belong a project because we take just the down part of the grape of the cluster.
So the lower part of the cluster.
The lower part of the cluster, which is more acid, and we make a sparkly Nebbiolo. 45 months on the lease, extra brut, and it's a beginning of a new project.
And its name is?
Cascal.
Now tell us a little bit about you love Barbera as well, Barbera d'Alba.
Yeah.
You make 2 wines, Zio Nando, which is Uncle Nando, right? Mm-hmm. What's special about Uncle Nando?
Yeah, because Ferdinando, uncle of my father who planted vineyards in the 1944. Old vines. You see that, the balance after 70 years, it's done.
Okay, and the other Barbera d'Alba is the Loirano Soprano. What's that?
Loirano Soprano. Loirano is the name of the hill. Soprano is the higher part. This one is a Barbera, but with the vinification similar to a Barolo, so longer maceration, longer aging, so 3 years of aging, almost 25 days of maceration.
So what's the difference in altitude between Zio Nando, the Barbera for that, and the Barbera for Loirano?
Yeah, the Zio Nando comes from old vines, the Soprano from younger vines. The Soprano comes from the top part of the hill. The Zio Nando is bigger, like vineyard. And usually the Soprano we make just in the best vintages.
Now you've got a special dispensation. You're in the Barbaresco region, right?
Yeah.
But you're allowed to ferment
because
Barolo here. Why is that?
Because I'm an old winery, so we started in the 1902. So we have a kind of grandfather. So we are able to vinify Barbaresco also in the Barolo region. And we were just tasting the Barbaresco Marcarini, which is my first year because that's the only wine that I don't grow grapes. I just buy the grapes from an organic farmer. So I'm very happy.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your Barolos. You make a Barolo just called Serralunga, after the name of the village. What's special about that? Yeah,
Barolo Serralunga is the classic Barolo from the village Serralunga that historically was one of the most important Barolo in the entire region because of the tannins. The finesse, the elegance of the tannins of Serralunga are really unique. It's made with the 3 single vineyards with yeast exposure. And we were tasting the 2013 that I think it's expressed very well the terroir of Serralunga.
I think you said people from Barolo love finding vineyards in Serralunga, but people like you who live in Serralunga don't necessarily want to buy vineyards outside Serralunga.
That's another story, but we need an hour to explain. But anyway, Serralunga was, we have a lot of calcium, clay and calcium. Historically, our Barolos were always green, not ripe, because we were the coldest part of the Barolo region. But with the changement of the weather, of the temperature getting a little bit higher, we took a great benefit.
But you're not worried about late picking. You're very happy to pick grapes late into October.
Yeah, we try in according to the vintage, of course, to pick the Nebbiolos as later as possible.
Do you think organic and biodynamic farming will help you to pick later in terms of vine health and vine balance?
I think it will help to have a balance each vintage, so we don't have the extreme. We don't feel the extreme. I think that's what I feel.
So it's almost like a buffer. Organics and biodynamics is a buffer against climatic extremes.
Exactly.
Finally, I know that you're organic and getting certified in biodynamic. You are making a wine in amphora. In Orcia. Sorry, which is a slightly different.
Toscan, I don't care. The Toscan people, they care.
Okay, so tell me. So in a clay pot, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Terracotta.
So what wine is it, and what shape is the clay pot, and why do you use the clay pot?
We use this, let's say, terracotta container to age our Nebbiolo, to make one Nebbiolo. There was an experiment started in 2014 to have 8 months maceration Nebbiolo, no clarification, no filtration, quite extreme.
So 8 months is basically the juice and the skins are together.
And the skins together. So it's a lot, especially in a Nebbiolo. Believe me, it's a lot.
That's pretty extreme, yeah?
Yeah, it's extreme, but anyway, it's not, when you taste it, it's not so extreme as you think. Because anyway, the tannins are quite, of course are more rustic, of course are more wild, but there are no big defects on that. I mean, because the idea of making Nebbiolo in this kind of container was to try to do something really extreme, because there is a trend of these natural wines and so on. So I said, let's see what I can do on that. And I'm very happy. And I start to study also and experiment the terracotta, which is a materials very interesting, especially
porous. It allows a little bit of
very
oxygen.
Porous. Yeah. You have a micro-oxygenation, but you don't have an oxidation.
So listen, next time I come back, I'm going to want to taste your bread from your grains that you've sown.
You come and help me.
Yeah,
it's not easy life.
Probably eat some of those birds that are flying around. Some of your vegetables. You've got an amazing collection of vegetables.
Yeah.
And herbs. I think you're really cutting edge what you're doing here, and people may think that you're crazy, but I think you're definitely on the right track.
It's fun, and believe me, there are much more crazy people who are doing more crazy things than what I do. I think that's something who comes from my feeling. I feel to do it, and I have to do it, and that's my big problem, is that I cannot stop. It's my drug.
Bigger than you. Okay, Enrico Rivetto, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for showing me your vineyards today.
So much.
And sharing your thoughts on biodiversity, Barolo Barbaresco.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you guys over here. Arrivederci.
Follow Italian Wine Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.